Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you to Palo Alto presents ET Studios Security Strokes in association with ET CISO. Today we live in a day and age where cybercrime has become a very major trend. In fact, according to some reports, it accounts for something like 3 trillion in world estimates, which is larger than some of the world's biggest economies. Such is the scale of cybercrime, and cyber incidents have increased in intensity and sophistication. Today we are going to discuss about how these increasingly sophisticated cyber attacks can be tackled by some of the latest technologies and tools, some of the latest of the emerging technologies that we have at our disposal in order to fight them. And today, therefore, we are going to talk about the very crucial impact, the very crucial benefit that can be drawn from something like AI in today's day and age, and we can actually find out what enterprises and organizations are doing around leveraging this extremely crucial technology in order to protect themselves and in order to secure themselves. And to discuss all this, we have a brilliant lineup of extremely senior cybersecurity professionals. It's an honor to have them here in this studio. So the first question that I have for you, Mr. Baidyanath, is we have already spoken about how the threat landscape has really evolved, continues to evolve very fast, and all senior cybersecurity professionals, including CISOs like you, are having to catch up with that. So what are the major challenges that you see in front of cybersecurity professionals like you?
Yeah, I think Mukbil, this is very pertinent question. If you talk about the modern context of threat landscape, if you talk about the adversaries, right, they are using AI in the better way and a smarter way. Even the script kiddies are getting empowered, right? Because attack tools are nowadays a commodity for them. They are getting easy means to use them, attack them, and come up with the sophisticated attack patterns also. So the biggest challenge, if you see the modern, even cybersecurity industry is facing that what we are doing, right? We are investing a lot of tools and technologies, but are they talking to each other? The biggest point is pain point. If you ask me clearly, in one decade only, if you talk about cybersecurity industry, we have evolved from antivirus to EDR. Then we started using these days XDR and a lot of other tools and technologies which are supporting, like technical terms you talk about UEBA, then NTA. A lot of technologies are evolving, but are they integrated well? That is the biggest question. Even organizations are clueless about their processes, right? 93% of the SOCs are still manual process driven. That's the biggest irony. And adding on top of that, 23% of the alerts are getting unnoticed in a SOC. So it's time to focus on AI-driven SOC, which is more matured, talking to each other, right? All the components have to be integrated, and obviously the outcomes have to be with the modern mindset, like thinking ahead of the hackers, right? The way they are thinking about. That's all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think these are some very pertinent points raised by Baidyanath. He spoke about how attacks have become very, very sophisticated. Something like AI is being used by hackers to do all of that. And the most important point that he raised was about interoperability and the need to have machines talking to each other and to get them integrated. Excellent points coming from you. Vivek, would you like to add on to this discussion?
So I agree with Baidyanath. So AI is a boom for cybersecurity, but AI is also using by the hackers also, and the way they are using it much smarter than us. Okay, we are working to safeguard our system, but they are working to destroy our system. They know the pain point. They're using the credential, the theft credential, in such a way that because every organization is using zero trust model, what organizations are doing, they are bypassing the security framework within the internal network, and hackers are getting benefit of this only. They are using AI based, using the stolen credential to inject the vulnerability into the system using the internal network. Okay, so what I think that if we have to use AI in such a way that it can help the cybersecurity team also to enhance the optimizations, to reduce the MTT here, you have to use the correct set of data in quantity by data with correct quantity also, because the number of alerts, if you put into a AI-based any tool, the output is not correct. The output will take time to generate what kind of thing to do. The SOC, the example when I told that the SOC has to be enabled with AI-based enabled. But whether really the team is taking advantage of AI, whether team is mature, team enough capable to handle the AI-based systems, okay. Whether AI is giving you the correct data, what kind of alert you have to ignore, what kind of alert you have to take actions, what kind of things you have to auto-block. Because in cybersecurity area, take example, if you are blocking the malicious attack or malicious traffic from internet, that's okay. But any genuine traffic, a customer is trying to buy some kind of policies, okay, and the traffic is blocked by the AI, by knowing that it's coming from the same IP and again malicious code, it will lose your business also. So we have to implement AI in such a way that it will give you benefit, not some kind of bad things also.
So we have a very interesting situation here where Baidyanath spoke about AI as being a challenge used by hackers. My good friend Vivek said how AI can be used, but it is presenting a lot of challenges. What are your views? I mean, how do you see, AI as a tool in the hands of the defenders rather than the hackers?
Okay. AI has been a tool in the hand of defenders for a while now. And I think what's really changed, Mukbil, and love what Vivek and Baidyanath said, is that now AI is in the hands of everyone. Right? That's the change. Before, AI used to be used for research, for improving the outcomes that cybersecurity tools provided. Right? And we have the privilege of being partners with people who have very hard jobs, like Mr. Baidyanath and Mr. Vivek. Now, what is the usefulness of AI within the cybersecurity defender community, if you will, right? First is obviously using AI to anticipate what everyone now who has access to AI can do, especially the malicious actors. What is that new variant of malware that they would create? How does it look, and how do our products be ready to block that malware even before it gets created, right? Purple teaming. Second is being precise. Precision AI is so important because unlike probably any other AI application, cybersecurity cannot afford to have false positives, cannot obviously afford to have a false negative, right? So in our industry, AI is precise. We have to ensure that every time something is detected, it better be foolproof detected. And that's our partnership with our customers. Lastly, Mr. Baidyanath spoke about the SOC. SOC is a very interesting place because until now, as he was saying, there were at least 10 to 12 vendors offering different good solutions across. But then the data was never shared in one place. If you don't share data, and this is not new, we have seen this with data analytics, you will not get one desired outcome. You will get 10 different outcomes, and then you still leave the poor individual sitting in the SOC totally confused. But when you bring all these tools on one platform, you bring the data that they understand into one data lake, and you're able to harness the power of that data, the outcomes are not thousands of alerts, but the outcomes are few incidents that humans have to be involved. Automation becomes an integral ability to this platform, and you can solve and respond to issues quickly. And most importantly, your mean time to detect an issue and your mean time to respond changes from days to hours and hours to minutes.
Wonderful. I think that was a brilliant response to the question of, what are the best ways in which you can leverage something like AI. Now, bringing Baidyanath back into the discussion. So Baidyanath, Vivek spoke about how AI is being experimented with, but people are not succeeding, the skill gap, they don't know how to use the tools, all of that. Do you think that is a major challenge for organizations, coming from an organization's perspective?
Yes, of course, Mukbil. If you see, still, I can say lot of organizations are not understanding their overall footprints, right? They are not understanding the business risk first. Quantifying the business risk is the most and topmost priority for CISOs these days. We are directly sitting in the boardroom discussing on the business risk, right? So first of all, understanding the context of business is something which is very important. How much you are going to invest in AI-based technologies, that is something which is very important. Without understanding those things, you can't create a good solution overall. Because see, coming from a manufacturing space, we are dealing with IT, OT integration, and where we are talking about smart manufacturing everywhere, right? So with the advent advent of industry 4.0 and lately 5.0, what we are seeing, these things are getting converged, and the attackers are much smarter to understand that how they have to exploit any OT vulnerability. Now how you have to deal with these all scenarios and come up with your plans. So obviously AI, and the way Swapna mentioned, we have heavily invested into precision AI, because we understand that precision AI is something which is going to rule cybersecurity. Otherwise, there is no, you can say that, ifs and buts if you are going to have false positives in your SOC, because obviously attackers are smart. They will divulge you. They will misguide you to look into those alerts which are not needed to look into, because initial access broker setting into your system, they have the complete idea about the even evasion techniques and all, and they are talking to ransomware affiliates. That is the sad story. 95% to even 98% SOCs and the CISOs are not aware about that also. That's
I
the
think you have made a wonderful
truth.
point about precision.
And a lot to talk on the technical aspects also.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
but in the
No,
paucity of time, we have to be limited. But yes,
No, thank you for
this
your
this is very you can say that technical and very close to my heart, the topic and discussion and the way we are implementing into cybersecurity.
I can see the passion coming through, and that was a brilliant remark that precision AI is the way forward. Now, this is from the attacker's side and from the technology and tools side. Vivek, I would want your opinion on something which is also there in the discourse around cybersecurity, that maybe we need a shift left approach, where you look at the entire development cycle and you try to bring the security aspect closer and closer to its inception. What do you think about it?
You rightly said, shift-left approach is only mentioned in the PPT. Every organization talking about shift-left approach, but not implementing, because the time to market is too less. I'm coming from insurance background, and the time to release a product is very less. So we talk about that we have to implement DevSecOps in the initial of the project. From day first, from the developer training on cybersecurity, on code, best practice, they have to follow. But always there is a gap. So if you have to do a mature cybersecurity to start the DevSecOps approach from the day first implementation, start DevSecOps, do a vulnerability management, use patch version of your container, okay, measure the cybersecurity success, whatever vulnerabilities you have, do a continuous monitoring, update, release, test, and things. And the major important part, training and awareness to your developers. What kind of code they are uploading to public GitHubs, whether they are uploading credentials, whether they are uploading the public key or not. They have to understand what is the meaning of public key, because a lot of developers are not aware. If you expose your public and private key, what is the impact on that part? For them, simply is credentials. But if you expose your credential and you expose your code, the entire organization at risk. Okay, so
true. I
the
agree
first
with
step of
you,
building a
and
cybersecurity.
he has actually given me food for thought, and to which you are going to respond to, Swapna. So the food for thought is that he's saying that shift left approach is only there in PPTs. How do we really bring it into the development cycle of companies? How do we really bring it into the practice aspect of cybersecurity? And of course, so many aspects have emerged around the deployment of AI tools in organizations for cybersecurity. How can Palo Alto help all these organizations, really help secure those tools so that they are able to leverage the fruits of modern technology?
Great question, and like the only PowerPoint thing. But let me say, I think the proof always lies in the
In the
pudding.
pudding.
And we started off with a comment on zero trust. So even if they're developers in your own organization, trust but verify. Until almost 4 months ago, I was on the engineering side. So definitely when any of our engineers are developing AI apps, using AI apps, there are guardrails placed around them so they can be comfortable. We trust them, but we also verify what they do. So the guardrails start with what AI apps are they using. Now, whether it's engineering or any other function within the organization, they would want to use AI apps. They are encouraged to use AI apps. So shifting left means giving them that freedom, but having the guardrails and the tools. So for example, our product AI Access gives full visibility to the security team on what AI apps are being used. It further gives control on what level of these AI apps can be used. What kind of data can I share? What can Swapna share? What can Mukbil share? Depending on the identity of the individual, right? Then it comes to the development phase where private and public keys If they're shared, what happens? If bad code is checked in into the repository, what happens? So the entire supply chain of building an AI application has to be very importantly protected. So we have secure posture management, which allows you from protecting the conceptualization of the code which builds the application, the foundational models, the data sets, the vector databases, as well as any plugins you might use from the third party, and most importantly, the entire infrastructure lying underneath. But once your application is deployed, you let it go wild? Absolutely not. You have to protect your application, because that's the difference. In AI, it's not one database and one application. There are various components that build an AI application. So you have to be continuously monitoring, continuously verifying that trust and verify element still applies. That's again where our AI runtime or our AI firewall is there to help.
I know. So, although I know I'm cognizant of the fact that time is running out, just your thoughts on what Vivek also spoke about, that, today developers and the development cycle in itself under a lot of stress.
Yes.
They have to stay relevant. Competition is intense. A few milliseconds of lag and the customer goes away. It is in that precarious situation that they are developing these tools. So they are obviously running against time and all of that. Security is kind of, not really figuring at that time. So how do you really bring this shift left or this deployment of AI in this process, which is becoming increasingly intense?
Yeah, it is intense. And I want to go back to what Vivek said about training. See, we've been doing training in cybersecurity for decades now, right? You always get that test email from your security team. I'm sure all of you send it to see who's going to click. Oh no, I clicked. Now I have to do 3 hours of training, right? We've been doing it, but still people click, unfortunately. So training is necessary, can never be stopped. But why don't you give them that freedom with the right guardrails around? So shifting left for them to work under pressure, give them the guardrails so that they don't have to be constantly thinking about this, especially when they are under such pressure. Give them the right tools which catch things, bad things when they happen, and taken care of even in runtime.
Thank you, lady, and both the gentlemen, for this very insightful talk, where we kind of covered all aspects around cybersecurity. We spoke about how the threat landscape has evolved, what are the emerging threats, what are the major challenges, and how AI can be an enabler, can work in favor of the defenders rather than becoming a very handy tool for the attackers. And thank you all for your excellent comments, thoughts, and insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was our pleasure.